Hey everybody, welcome to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Thank you guys so much for joining me this evening on a Sunday, a late Sunday evening, I should say, after a round of football. As you guys have the Buccaneers here on right now, so you guys know what that means. We've had a big W today against the Eagles. We'll get into that first things first. We'll cover what's going on with the Jags and the Dolphins as well. We're going to take a dive into the NCAA and see what's going on with college football as far as the Gators goes and games are to be concerned. Gators didn't play yesterday, so no way to win, no way to lose there. But FSU played. Miami played. Their games were interesting, to say the least, and interesting here having the latter form of the meeting. Of course, we have the Rays baseball and Marlins baseball, which just wrapped up. Both teams eliminated from postseason contention, so we'll talk about their final moments. And of course, we will dive into the MLS and talk about what's going on with Inter Miami as well as Orlando City. Both of those teams performing very, very well at this point in the season. Lionel Messi back, of course. Miami looks greater than ever. And then, of course, Orlando City really just breaking out of that 500 hole that they were in as far as their record is concerned. So we'll talk about all that and more on this week's episode of Palm Tree Sports Radio. Again, thank you for joining me here this evening. And we will be right back as soon as our intro concludes. But keep it locked here, guys, for a few more moments at Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, is brought to you by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. That's right, guys. I was muted. I apologize. I'm going to run that back one more time. But welcome to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host. And as always, this is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Yeah, I apologize for that, guys. It happens sometimes, right? It's a studio. It happens. It's been a very, very rough week, you guys. Before I get into everything, I just want to point this out. For those of you who were not aware, and I want to do this at the top before I go into anything else, just because I'm pretty sure most of you guys had already seen it. But we did have a hurricane that hit us over out of the Gulf of Mexico, Hurricane Helene, however she wants to be pronounced. I'm not sure why we're genderifying the hurricanes and tornadoes, but whatever. I'll leave that up to the semantics and all those people. But realistically speaking, that hurricane did a number. We did have a couple of lives lost here, some storm surge issues. I partner with the city of Tampa, actually, so I will be out all week doing cleanups at major areas that were affected by the hurricane. My thoughts and prayers go out to all those who were in South Tampa, where it took the brunt of the storm surge. I saw videos of the water being above cars. Okay, guys. So it was a very serious deal, in South Florida. And I just want to point that out before we get started on the regular bit this evening. So, thoughts and prayers out to everybody who was dealing with that hurricane. Hope you guys are safe. Hope you guys are going to be back to the norm soon enough. And I hope that there's enough to take care of those that are out there and need the help. And I, of course, will be out there starting first thing tomorrow morning to do my part as well. So, looking forward to that and hoping that everybody is safe and sound. And prayers for those who lost family members during that. Because, again, there were a couple of lives that were lost that we did verify. So just want to get that in and out of the way, guys. But back to our regularly scheduled programming, guys. Let's just go ahead and get into everything else. So first things first, guys. So what this show is going to be focused on, primarily a lot of football today. We just saw the wrap up of the MLB season. My apologies for the teams here in Florida. Both the Marlins and the Rays eliminated from postseason contention. Neither one of these teams are looking particularly great, but the best part about it is that there's nowhere else to go but up. As far as football is concerned, we are in full swing, so we're going to go ahead and get into all that. Though the Gators did not play this weekend, we will talk about what to expect next weekend and, of course, the rest of college football. And then NFL football, the Buccaneers back into the win column this week. Earlier today, put a thumping on the Eagles, and we will dive into everything that took place there. We'll talk about why the Jaguar season is over, and why the Miami Dolphins have a lot to play for going into this next game against the Titans, the 0-3 Titans. So we'll get into that, guys. And, of course, we will wrap things up with the MLS, and we'll go visit Inter Miami and talk about why Lionel Messi is the man with the plan and the only one that can. And we'll see how well Orlando City is adapting to the second half of the season, as they have come away from the 500 record and 2 games above that and are looking to continue to streak and find more success as they move forward, guys. But that's what's to expect moving forward in the show, guys. If you are looking for us on social media, this is where to do it, guys. Go follow us on X, IG, Facebook, and TikTok at IE Sports Radio, guys. That is going to be the social handle for IE Sports Radio, the hub of all of the shows that we house, guys. Again, that's on X, IG, Facebook, TikTok at IE Sports Radio. Go check us out on all your socials, and we are active, and we will be carrying the conversation. Come join. Far as the podcast goes, depending on which podcast you may be listening to, it doesn't matter where you get your podcast streaming service from. You will be able to hear this podcast on all of those, as well as all the other shows that are under the umbrella of IE Sports Radio. And of course, they are as advertised, but not limited to Apple Podcasts. I was say Apple Music. My apologies. Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Amazon, and so many more. Wherever you get your podcast, go check it out, guys. You'll be able to find all of our shows, including my very own Palm Tree Sports Radio, on there, guys. And for the website, guys, for the website that has all of the info that we're talking about and so much more, iSportsRadio.com is going to be the umbrella, the big umbrella, the proverbial big umbrella, if you will, that all of the shows and all of your personnel can be found at. Of course, IE Sports Radio houses all of the many shows from Big Cheese, New York, South Cali, whatever it is that you're looking for, KC, Carolina, all of the above, and so many more, guys. That's where you're going to be able to find all of those shows, guys. Now, as far as IE Sports Radio shop, now, obviously, I don't have the IE Sports Radio hat on right now. I have a Buccaneers hat on because I'm trying to rep. But if you are looking for IE Sports Radio apparel or gear, this is going to be the place to check it out, iesportsradio.com/shop. And, of course, it has everything that you could be looking for: T-shirts, hats, etc., etc., etc. Go check it out, guys. Go get you some gear, just anything to help represent the brand, the podcast, if you will. That's going to be where you can find our gear at, guys. IE Sports Radio /Palm Tree Sports is going to be the handle for specific show, Palm Tree Sports. That is the show that I do every Sunday evening at 9 p.m. This is going to be the show that talks about all things Florida sports, guys. So if you're looking for that, that's going to be the handle, www.isportsradio.com /Palm Tree Sports for my show. For the handle on socials for my specific show, guys, which you will see me on there talking about, more active when it's active, of course, and then also on my personal account, which we'll get into in a second, but at @palmtree_IE. The underscore is very important, guys. Keep that there locked in before the IE, so that way you find the right one and not a fake one, if there is a fake one. But with that being said, guys, for my personal handle on social, it's going to be @Pujols Corey. Find me on Twitter, find me on Instagram, guys. I'm always posting sports-related subjects. I talk everything, every single sport pretty much I have an opinion on. I talk Major League baseball, soccer, football, college football, basketball, college basketball, etc., etc., etc. pro wrestling, MMA in my scope as well, guys. So come holler at me on Instagram or on Twitter. I'm already in a conversation. Probably just jump in and give me your 2 cents, guys. Let's go ahead and get into our sponsors for the evening. And then after our sponsors, we will check the comments and then dive into the world of sports coming out of the Sunshine State. Guys, thank you so much for having it locked here at Palm Tree Sports Radio. Again, my name is Corey Pujols, your host. And as always, this is brought to you and powered by iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And now, a moment from our sponsors, if you will.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
Welcome back to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, guys. Thank you so much for joining me this evening on a Sunday afternoon, or Sunday evening. I should have said evening twice. Here we go. But you guys get what I mean. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, guys. We got a ton of stuff to get into right now. So at the top of everything, I want to start things off by diving quickly into the comments, see what everybody has to say for this evening's episode. So, Terrence, good to see you, my friend. Dad, I love you. Glad to see you on the show. Can't wait to get you back on the show, guys. Get ready for that. We got that in the works moving forward. That, as you mentioned before, just prayers to all those who are hit by or affected by the hurricane, guys. It's a hurricane, right? So it's not an easy thing to deal with one way or another. Yes, in Florida, we're a bit fearless. We're used to this kind of thing. That doesn't mean our hearts don't go out and aren't, our prayers don't go out to those people who are affected, especially those in South Tampa. For those of you who do not know, South Tampa is the area that's on the water. It's also the place where a lot of the players live. It's also a place where a lot of the city's operations and functionality actually begins and ends. So it's a very, very big deal, guys, for those of you who are not familiar with the Tampa Bay area. So just shout out to the mayor, Jane Goodall, or not Jane Goodall, I'm sorry. Jay Goodall's event we just had actually before the hurricane. But a shout out to the mayor. She's done an amazing job. Just being out there with the people, making sure that she's giving us the proper information. She closed down the city for the last 2 days, so it was very well deserved and very well needed given the situation. Again, there were 2 people that we know that lost their lives during the hurricane. So just shouts out to the families, prayers to the families, just love, grace, and affection to all of them, because right now it's a really tough time, especially when you lose a loved one due to a natural disaster. Right, like it's something you can't really always plan for, but you could do your best to be prepared for. But sometimes preparations can't keep you from, the real deal. So, hopefully everybody is okay. And Mayor Jane Castro, that's correct. That is her name, Dad. But yeah, that's pretty much just something I want to get out of the way real quick and touch on before we dive into everything else. So, Taryn, so the Bucs laid down the wood against the Eagles again. I'm guessing last week was just a clunker game for them. Yeah, you know what? So I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it was, guys. Let's go ahead and get into this. First things first, shout out to Tom, terrific, Captain America, or my favorite player in NFL history, whatever nickname you want to use to describe him. Tom Brady did the call for the Buccaneers-Eagles game. How fitting it is that he was able to do that. First things first, I love Tom personally. Just an amazing human being, amazing football player, amazing leader, amazing father. I can't speak highly enough on that man. He's one of my heroes, and I look up to him, and I was very glad to see him call the show. Of course, it can't be understated. The Buccaneers laid, just like he said, the wood against the Eagles, man. And that's a big deal, right? Because the Eagles are a team that in the past has haunted Tampa Bay. This is a team that has a rivalry that goes outside of the NFC South. Every team has that rivalry or has multiple rivalries inside the division as far as outside the division, some outside the division more so important than inside. You could say that the Carolina rivalry between the Buccaneers and Carolina just isn't as extreme as Atlanta or the Saints would be. And then you could argue that a team like the Eagles or the Green Bay Packers could also fill that role. And those are 2 teams that I see as very serious rivals for Tampa Bay. Those are the kind of games that we circle on the calendar and we say, hey, this isn't a division game, but we need to win this game. And we need to win it for many reasons. A lot of them being that obviously same conference, right? So that conference tiebreaker is going to come down to who has the win if they have the same record. And obviously you're going to want to have that go-ahead win against the Eagles or against the Packers. The 49ers would be another one, I think, that is a team you would love to have that go-ahead win against once you get to the playoffs and you have multiple teams with the same record and only 1 or 2 teams can get in. So that's just something to take in consideration for those of you who are not familiar with Tampa Bay football, guys. But overall, a super, super, super exciting day for the Buccaneers, guys. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first things first, Bucs are able to win another game against the Eagles by the score of 33-16, guys. So here's the deal, right? So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played a terrible game last week against the Broncos. So a lot of people were coming out thinking, hey, look, the Eagles found some success. The Buccaneers lost. It's probably the Eagles' games to lose. But that's exactly what they did. They went out and lost it. Or, as I would prefer to say, the Buccaneers went out and won it, right? So Baker Mayfield looked terrible last week, right? He got sacked 7 times. He had a terrible passer rating. He wasn't able to get on the board in any touchdowns. And it was just a frustrating day at the office for Tampa Bay Buccaneers, especially having a home game against that Broncos team. Tampa Bay has since cleaned up those issues in this game against the Eagles. We had 20 people on the injury report, but no matter, next man up mentality. We have a lot of depth in a lot of key areas, such as wide receiver, such as defensive line, and some of those areas that are really, really important to have a good rotation in. And I think we showed that in today's ball game. So let's get into some of the details, right? So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, again, improved to 3-1 on the season by defeating the Eagles, who now dropped to 2-2 on the season by a score of 33-16. The score doesn't say enough about how the game was played. Baker Mayfield goes 30 of 47, 347 yards passing, which is the season high so far this year. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 100.2 quarterback passer rating, okay? One of his better games, probably his best outing so far right now, obviously, as a Buccaneer. I would say from the standpoint of defeating a good team, a team that we played last year during the playoffs, and we had a good victory against them. It looks like we picked off right where we left off against this franchise. Now, the Eagles are no easy team to beat. They're never an easy team to beat. Excuse me, they just came off of a victory last week in dramatic fashion, and I think they were looking to carry some of that into this week, some of that mojo. Unfortunately, the Tampa Bay Bucs seems to have the Philadelphia Eagles numbers, and it's about time we have their number. Again, the Philadelphia Eagles is a team that stressed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers out in the late 90s and the early 2000s a lot. I was a kid. I was between the age of about 6 and 12 during that time frame, and it wasn't easy. let me just tell you, it just wasn't easy to be a Bucks fan and watch them go play against Philadelphia. Philadelphia would come out physical. They had Brian Dawkins and Gardner and just all these great defensive players that knew how to shut down offenses. They had great weapons on offense. Brian Westbrook comes to mind. McNabb comes to mind. So many of those. Todd Pinkston. There we go. Pinkston. Mitchell. And there was just so many guys that Philadelphia Eagles team had throughout that time. And Andy Reid was the head coach. Of course, we now know him as the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. So I can't speak enough on this victory for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, Baker Mayfield goes crazy. 347 yards passing. Again, his season high so far with a great passer rating also to boot. Super proud of this guy for what he's been able to accomplish and how he's bounced back from such a devastating loss against the Broncos last week. I think Tampa Bay Buccaneers came out here with a fit of revenge on their mind, and they played like it. They played like the hungrier team, the team that wanted it more. And I'm just super proud of them for the way that they performed. Guys, let's talk about the rest of the team. All right, so Levante David, the ageless wonder, 14 years in the league. This guy is 34 years young, and he put up a game to remember. Okay, let's talk about it, right? So 8 tackles, 2 sacks. One of the sacks was a forced fumble, and he had a pass defended. Almost had an interception. I kid you not, legitimately almost had an interception. Could you imagine if he had that interception? We'd be talking about probably the best defensive performance in God knows how long. Levante David was the only one, though. Buccaneers acquired 6 sacks in this game. Monumental. And I think that's just monumental because guess who was back in the lineup, guys? Just take a guess. He's Hawaiian. Vita Vea returned to the lineup after missing last week with a knee sprain. It's an MCL sprain. It's a week-by-week, day-by-day process. But, of course, he wasn't going to go if he wasn't ready to go. Tampa Bay Buccaneers front office prioritizes health above every other thing, which is why we have 20 players on the physical and unable to perform list, guys. Villa was a monster. He had a monstrous sack on Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen was kind of scared after that. I don't think he really wanted to kind of face the interior of the line as he decided to roll out the most of the time that he was pressured moving back into the outside, I should say, of the line of fire of one Vita Vea. One-man wrecking crew. Of course, you have to double or triple team him. There are going to be times where that's not even enough. The guy is just an absolute juggernaut. He's the best interior defensive lineman in the country. I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Famer by the end of his career, in all honesty. The guy's just an absolute monster of a person. Got the chance to meet him briefly for a second. I miss his hair. He cut his hair, for those of you who remember Vita Vea with the long hair. But, yeah, they held the Eagles with 0 points, 0 yards until 7 minutes and 25 seconds in the second quarter. So take that in consideration, guys, when you think about how a football game is played. This franchise, known as the Philadelphia Eagles, has a Super Bowl to its name, was unable to move the ball against this Buccaneers defense. This Buccaneers defense is not 100% healthy. So just imagine if this team gets healthy. Antoine Winfield Jr. is still out. Kalijah Cansey is still our second best interior lineman. I like where this team is at. I'm glad that they were able to overperform this week to make up for last week, and I look forward to seeing what happens next week. Speaking of next week, that game is going to be against the Falcons. It's actually a this week game, actually. That game is going to be Thursday. Thursday, October 3rd, 8:15 p.m. If you want to check out that game, this is going to be for bragging rights across the NFC South right now. The winner of this game is going to take full control of the NFC South with a game ahead, or if the Falcons win a half game ahead, of the next team, which would be the Falcons. And then the Saints, followed by Carolina, who also is just in a world of trouble right now as a franchise. They got their first win last week, but they lost this week. So good job. Glad they lost. Falcons, thank you for beating the Saints. For those of you who aren't familiar with the circle of hatred in the NFC South, the Bucs hate the Saints. The Saints hate the Bucs. The other two teams are just, like it happens. Like, they play well one week, next week they don't play well, whatever. No, we don't really care. The one team that the Buccaneers want to 2-0 throughout the regular season is the Saints. If we see them in the playoffs, we want to 3-0. It's the one team we don't want to lose to, followed by Atlanta, followed by Carolina. If I had the opportunity, I'd switch Carolina out for Green Bay and switch Atlanta out for, we were just talking about them earlier, the Eagles. Those are bigger rivalries than the Bucs and the Falcons and the Bucs and Carolina. So just some food for thought there as far as NFC South is concerned, but also remember that the Bucs used to be in NFC Central before the NFC South was formed. So that's what kind of separates those rivalries from the interior rivalries that we have now, guys. Final thoughts for the Buccaneers game as we get ready to move over into the Jags and into the Fins part of the show, guys. Possibly most dangerous team in the NFC. possibly the most dangerous team in the NFC. It looks like last week was a bit of a flounder. It looks like, we were dealing with some things that we hadn't laid to rest. We overlooked the Broncos and we paid for it. But I think the lesson was learned. We have now had 2 victories against 2 former playoff teams going into last year and years before that, in the Detroit Lions and the who we just beat today, obviously the Eagles, which is the team that we beat in the wild card round last year. So good job, Bucks. I love to see it. We're 5 out of 6 against in the last 6 meetings against the Eagles, and I hope that trend continues. I really hope we turn it into a Florida, Kentucky kind of thing where the Eagles just don't beat us for the next 30 years. I know that's probably not going to happen, but hey, I can dream, right? I can dream, guys. Let's go ahead and move on over into the Jaguars. Let's talk about what's going on with the Jaguars and why their season is over. So it's very simple, right? They're 0-4. They can't pick up a win. What do you want me to say? They're in a division where the Texans are clearly running away with the division. If Anthony Richardson can stay healthy, that's your second place team in the Indianapolis Colts. I just don't see the Jags living up to the hype right now. They have continuity, they have T-Law, they have ETM. It's just not enough. What worked in college does not always work in the NFL, and that's something that the Jaguars are learning the hard way right now. I don't think that there's much that the Jaguars can do. It could be a coaching issue at this point. I think I really can't speak on it just because when I watch this franchise, I see a franchise that doesn't have an identity. Do they not have an identity because their quarterback's not playing well? I can't say that. T-Law goes, okay, let's talk about it for a second. T-Law goes 18 of 33 for 169 yards and 2 touchdowns, no picks. Okay, the 2 touchdowns, no picks, good deal, right? So then you ask yourself what happened. Well, I'm going to tell you what happened. They lost a 4-point game to the Texans who have a better offense. Good offenses know how to stretch defenses, know how to tire defenses out. It's what Tampa Bay did against the Eagles in a 93-degree day here in South Tampa, and it seems like the Jaguars are unable to do that with the Texans. Now the Texans are also in the South, so you kind of expect that they can deal with the Heat as well as the Jaguars can. So then at that point, you got to ask yourself which team wants it more, and the Texans wanted it more. That's why they're 3-1, and that's why the Jaguars are 0-4. ETM no longer the featured back. It's going to be Tank Bigsby on 7 carries, 90 yards, unable to get into the end zone, but it was a low-scoring affair. 24-20, again, 4 points separates these two teams. But you can see the stats when you look at the quarterback, C.J. Stroud, out-dueling the young T-Law here for Jacksonville. Unfortunately, it's looking like T-Law may not be the answer for Jacksonville now that it's been a few years. We can kind of see what you have with him. He kind of reminds me of a Jameis Winston. He's good when he's good, but when he's not, he's not. What will the Jaguars do during this offseason? That's going to be the main question. Will they hold T-Law for a possible trade scenario? That's what I would do and see about drafting the best quarterback you can get your hands on. The problem is I don't know who that's going to be coming out of college, right? Like I don't know exactly who you're going to put your head down and say, hey, I want this guy, right? So something to take consideration for the Jaguars right now. Is the Jaguars season over? I'd say so. Yeah, I mentioned that a little bit earlier. I would definitely say that the Jaguars season is over. Unfortunately, they're not showing anything. They're not putting on anything on tape that's supposed to make these other teams fear them. And starting 0-4 just kind of digs you into a hole that with a division loss just becomes exponentially hard to climb out of. You're going to go see the Colts next week. The Colts are rocking a 2-2. Anthony Richardson got injured, so you have an opportunity for success there, but you shouldn't rely on injuries to be able to find success, especially as a Jaguars team in the AFC South, a weak AFC South conference division, if you will, not conference. Conference is strong. Division is weak. That game is going to be Sunday, October 6th, 1 p.m., like I said, and it's going to be an in-division game. If they lose that game, their season is truly over. They will be 0-5 with 2 division losses. There's like a 90% chance that they wouldn't be able to climb out of that hole unless they pretty much just win out, right? Because 5 losses is that's a lot right now. That's a lot when you're dealing with the Ravens and you're dealing with the Bills and you're dealing with the Chiefs and you're dealing with the Chiefs and the referees. My bad. Let me correct myself. The Chiefs and the referees. When you're dealing with some of these other teams that are going to be getting healthy moving forward. Pittsburgh is showing some flashes. They didn't play well today, but they're showing some flashes of greatness. That's not the only team to be concerned about. What if the Cincinnati Bengals get on a roll and start actually playing football the way they're supposed to play football? All of a sudden, those playoff spots are going to start getting hogged up and the Jaguars aren't going to have anywhere to look. Not to mention they can't get out of their own division. So Jags season's probably over. I'm going to lead more towards optimism and say, hey, hopefully y'all can win this game and within 2 weeks try to get to 2-4 and just kind of go from there. But you're going to have to put some kind of streak together, and it's going to have to be something special. Again, Jags, Colts coming your way Thursday. My apologies, Sunday, October 6th. 1 p.m. It's the Buccaneers. That's a Thursday night game. I'm going to say that one more time. Buccaneers Thursday night, 8:15. Falcons, Jaguars, 1 p.m. Sunday, October 6th against the Colts. 2 division games for 2 South Florida teams. The only team not playing a division game is going to be the Dolphins. We're going to get into that in a second. But the last thing I want to say about the Jaguars is, hey, listen, for the Jaguars to be in the position that they're in right now under Doug Peterson, it really begs the question, what can you do to turn this franchise around, right? I mentioned that T-Law may not be the answer and that there aren't any quarterbacks that are going to be really worth drafting, not that I can currently see at the moment coming out of college. Don't forget free agency, okay? So the Jaguars may want to exploit free agency this coming up offseason. They've got a couple of good receivers. You got Evan Ingram at tight end. You have a defense that's a 50-50 ball game at times. So you might want to see about getting another quarterback. You got Tank Bigsby back there who seems to be able to handle what ETM cannot. And so with that, I say you just go out, you try to find the best quarterback for your bang for your buck, right? And then you just hit the defense, right? And you just start putting defensive pieces together to cover the areas that are sorely mistaken. Right now, injuries have hurt this team a little bit, but more specifically, it's just the inability to stop offenses from pretty much doing what they want to do. They're struggling against the run. They struggled against the run today. They're struggling against the pass as well, and CJ Stroud lit them up for 24. So, I mean, it is what it is, guys. Jaguars, they need some help. That's the only way I know how to look at it right now. Jaguars need help, okay? So let's check the comments right quick and see what everybody has to say, okay? Yeah, Dad. Bucs defense is scary good. Not 100% healthy. I mean, we literally have the best interior defensive lineman in the nation. We have the best safety in the nation. The best interior defensive lineman just came back, and we saw the difference that he made. Now, imagine when Antoine Winfield Jr. comes back, right? And he's not the only one. Kalijah Kancey, again, we're waiting for him to come back. We have unfortunately, our what's his name? Our defensive back who got injured last week. He's not going to be back the rest of the season. He's done for the season. But there's a ton of talent out there. The Buccaneers can only get better from this point moving forward. We drafted, like out of our 53-man squad, we drafted everybody but like 6 players or something like that, guys. I mean, other teams are not doing what we're doing. Nobody's doing what Tampa Bay's doing right now, okay? And that's drafting phenomenal because we have the best GM in the league, okay? Argue with a wall. I don't care. Put your comments in the comment section if you will, but the Buccaneers have the best general manager in the league. I mean, look at the drafting. Look at the draft. Look at the offseason moves. Going out and getting Tom Brady. Who did that? Leonard Fournette, Gronkowski, Antonio Brown. God bless his soul, guys. I don't know what his problem is, but God bless his soul. But so many great players can only be a test to the front office, guys. Can't speak enough about that. Yep. Same downfall as last season. You know, here's the thing about Sadir Sanders, right? Like, he's phenomenal, great ball player. I don't know if he can fix the Jaguars' problems because he's used to playing an offense that's tailor-made for him, not an offense that's tailor-made for the pro style. So that's going to be what the real question is for him. But would I love to see him play for the Jaguars? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, hey, they need to get Travis Hunter. Everybody needs Travis Hunter. Actually, every team all 32 teams in the NFL need Travis Hunter. Keep that in mind, guys. That guy's one hell of a ball player. So anyway, the Fins. All right, so let's talk about the Fins, right? So the Fins, they're in an interesting spot right now. I don't know if Tua says he wants to continue to play football. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea when you are, I mean, all Damar Hamlin tried to do was hug you and you got a concussion. And I'm not making light of this. Literally, go watch the play, guys. Damar Hamlin's arms were out like this and boom, head right into the sternum, chest area and concussion. And when you're having a concussion that easy, that's what frightens me. That's what scares me. When you look at what happened to him after the concussion, the movement and the way he he just couldn't physically recover. I feel for the kid. And I feel for the Dolphins. The Dolphins look like a completely different team when Tua is at quarterback. When he's not at quarterback, I just don't know what to tell you, guys. But the concussions, man, they got to stop. They got to stop. We're talking about this young man's future, okay? I'm 30. I'm older than him. Okay, I'm telling you, you don't want to be having these problems at this age. You don't want to be having these problems at 40, 50, whatever. Okay, Tua, just take care of yourself, please. I mean, you're probably not going to see this, but even still, take care of yourself because you mean more than just the game of football. The game of football is huge. It's monumental. Your life means more. Okay, what you stand for, what you've done in the past, what you did at Alabama means a lot more. It just means more, okay? As far as the rest of the Fins go, they enter this game running in a 1-2 record right now. They're going to be going against an 0-3 Titans team. They're going to start Tyler Huntley at quarterback. I can't think of a better time to start your Tyler Huntley, signed fresh off the Ravens practice squad. The guy I think is actually one of the better backups in the league. I think this guy can win games and has the ability to do so. Dual threat quarterback with a cannon arm. Not as big as Lamar Jackson's, of course, and neither is his feet as good as Lamar's. But he shouldn't have to worry about that when you have two speedy wide receivers in Jalen Waddle and, of course, Tyreek Hill on the outside, along with a great backfield of running backs there that are available, a stable of running backs, if you will, to find success on offense. Will the Miami defense be good enough to stop the Titans? I hope so. This Titans team is not playing well. They're 0-3 right now. Will Levis, like, he's just completely under pressure, completely under shock. And I don't think he knows what to do. I don't think he knows what to do with the football, guys. So listen, right now, I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction. The Fins win this game, get back in the win column, improve to 2-2, move to second place in their division on the AFC East. And, they're keeping their head above water, or at water's edge, if you will. Tyler Huntley should be the difference for them. I think that he can get it alone. I think he get it done alone with his feet. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, I think that the Fins win this game. I'm going to say they win a low scoring game, guys. I'm going to say this game probably goes 17-10 ball game. I say that in a very run-heavy game that the Titans do find the end zone at some point, but I just don't think that it'll be enough. I think the trading of possession will be enough. Tyler Huntley's feet will be enough. His legs will be enough, and I think that he'll make enough passes and get this team in position to be able to score. Of course, again, not a high-scoring game. That's my prediction for the game. That game is going to be tomorrow at 7:30, guys. It's going to be your primetime Monday night game. Probably could have used a different game. Probably could have did a different game for prime time, but hey, whatever. NFL does what the NFL does. It is what it is, guys. But like I said, we're going to spend a ton of time on the NFL talking about what's going on there. Now that we've done that, guys, let's go ahead and actually get into our first break of the evening. It's unfortunate, real quick, before we get into our first break of the evening, Steve does need to talk to Tua. That in the comments, he made a very good comment. Steve needs to talk to Tua. Guys, Steve Young was the best running quarterback between the years of about 1988 to about 1995, okay? Of course, there was a very young Randall Cunningham who was also playing football, but he was dealing with injuries. At one point, he was out for the entire season. So Steve Young was just a really, really big deal during that time frame. I'm a huge 49ers fan, so I actually got the chance to follow Steve Young in his career behind Joe Montana, and as well as Steve Bono and the rest of that offense that they had under George Seifert and friends, of course, Eddie DeBartolo, the owner, and all of those guys. Guys, Steve Young was a very, very hard runner. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, and at quarterback position, he was big enough to be able to do it, but he also did suffer a few concussions, and that was one of the things that really derailed his career. Yes, he was getting older, but he still had it, right? But those injuries, once they start to pile up, you realize, hey, look, man, my life is so much more important than that. To it, you need to recognize the same thing, young man. You are just in a world of trouble right now, and I think that you need to take at least week 7 is not going to be enough. Take a little bit more time. Take the rest of the year off if you have to. Rehab, get yourself in a position, do whatever it is you can to do to be better for next year. But it's too early in the season. I don't think it's safe for you to come back. You're having concussion after concussion at this point. And, we're worried about you. So just take that in consideration too. I think that's a great point. Dad Steve does need to talk to him. It is what it is. He's a grown man. He can make his own decisions, but that's just my professional opinion, guys. I forgot to mention one other thing. Dolphins next game after the game against the Titans tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. They are going to be playing the Patriots, which is going to be a division game. It's going to be very big for them because if they can win against the Titans and they come back to the Patriots, they find success against the Patriots, they could easily be 2-3 and again, number 2 in their division, which would put them in a decent position to make a rally run behind Tyler Huntley for a wild card playoff spot, but they're not catching the Dolphins and they're not beating the Dolphins. That's just out of the question at this point, barring something dramatic, right? But those are my thoughts there for the Dolphins as far as the NFL is concerned. Thank you guys for joining me here on Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Guys, let's just go ahead and get into our first break of the evening. When we get back, we'll talk college football, MLS, and the MLB to wrap up with some food for thought and just a recap of everything we've discussed and everything to move forward. And guys, again, thank you for having it locked here this Sunday evening at Palm Tree Sports Radio. Let's get into our first break of the evening. We'll be right back in about 2.5 minutes.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS. The SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey, Cleveland and Columbus sports fans. This is Jen D, host of the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. If you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in live to the Show of the Land on Tuesdays, where we will cover the Cleveland Browns, Cavs, Guardians, and Monsters. We will also talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets, Crew, Fury, and of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll also cover other colleges in the area like Akron, Kent State, Cleveland State, Mount Union, John Carroll, Baldwin Wallace, Youngstown State, among others. So like I said, if you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in Tuesdays to the Show of the Land with Jen B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Shout out Terrence, shout out Jen B. Those guys do a phenomenal job on their shows, guys. And of course, here at Palm Tree Sports, we are going to be talking about all things Sunshine State and featuring the Sunshine State, which haven't been much sunshine as of late due to the weather and the hurricane and all that. A team that wasn't affected by that would be the Florida Gators, guys. So let's go ahead and get things started with the Gators and college football, guys. Really, actually, not too much to talk about with the Gators. They didn't play this past week, which is great. Can't win, can't lose. I guess you can kind of win by not losing, right? But then we have the hardest schedule in college football history, right? Because we got to go play number 1 Texas, and we got to play Georgia just lost to Alabama. Thank God. Hey, you know what, guys? Let's get into that. Let's actually talk about that part real quick. So for those of you who watched the game, let me know what you thought in the chat. I'm going to keep it simple. I thought that was the best college football game I've ever witnessed. First things first, Jalen Milroe is a gift. Okay, he's baby Lamar Jackson. He is just phenomenal, guys. I can't say enough good things about Jalen Milroe. I'm a huge Jalen Milroe fan. I have my love-hate relationship with Alabama. Same thing with Georgia. I like Bama a little bit more than Georgia because we don't have to play them every year. We have to play LSU every year, but I still like LSU, so it's weird. I don't know. It's a little fetish with the West, if you will. But yeah, man, as a Gator, I was sitting there watching back that game. I actually watched the first half. I missed the second half, unfortunately, which just kind of breaks my heart because apparently that's when things got good. Or was it? Alabama scores 28 in the first half, shuts out Georgia. I got to say, I love that part. Jalen Milroe is something special. Ryan Williams is a star. And he's 17. What? Y'all driving me crazy, college football. So y'all getting done in by a 17-year-old. I gotta admit, I love it. I love the story. I love it 100. I really, really do. Ryan Williams with a just electrifying 75-yard catch. The man spins like he's in dance class, and he's the teacher and the instructor, and y'all are just learning from him. I gotta admit, I love what I saw right there. So from a Gators perspective, I'll tell you that's the game that we watched. Also watched the USF game. I don't know why I watched that game. Tulane destroyed them. 45-10 was scored that ball game, guys. UCF played against Colorado. That was a big deal. So I did watch the majority of that game. Unfortunately, I missed the fourth quarter of it. So I was able to see, though, that Colorado was able to pull it out against UCF, which is a huge thing because the Gators are playing UCF next week. So get ready for that, guys. Gators UCF ball game is going to be Saturday, October 5th, 7:45 p.m. They made that primetime game. I don't know why. I don't know why, but whatever. The Gators are 2-2, UCF 3-1. If the Gators can find a W here, that'll be big, propelling them into this very, very tough stretch of football. They're going to have to play again against number 1 Texas. They're going to have to play against Georgia. They're going to have to play against LSU, all of which ranked in the top 15, playing good football right now. You can't forget about some of those other teams: Tennessee, Kentucky. It's just not looking good. Kentucky was able to pull off upset against ranked 6 Ole Miss, guys. So obviously Kentucky's kind of for real right now. At least they were for real for a week, right? And then Tennessee, of course, a very high-ranking SEC team that's playing very well at this time as well, too. So, we don't know what to expect. Hope the Gators win this game against UCF. I'm not ready to say that they will, but I believe in them. I hope that they win. My prayers are that they win. If there was going to be a score for the game, I'd say probably be a close ball game. So I'd probably say maybe 31-27 Gators. And I'm only saying that because Graham Mertz seems to be waking up a little bit. And as long as he can find his receivers and we don't commit 10,000 penalties, we should be able to win this game against a very demoralized, very heartbroken UCF team. If UCF comes in ready to play, can't be mad at them. They right down the street. So, UCF, congrats on the good start. We'll see what happens on Saturday, guys. Again, that game is going to be Saturday, October 5th, 7:45 p.m. primetime game. The other big games, I think there's one other primetime game that's going to be pretty big. So you may miss that Gator game for that other primetime game, but all the other big games are going to be early, 1 o'clock, 3:30 games, and there's a couple of bye weeks as well. Again, Gators just had their bye week, so they didn't lose there. They couldn't have lost, thank God. But there was a team that did lose. And when I'm not going to lie, whenever they lose, it does make the Gators losing or the Gators not playing football a little bit easier. You guessed it. It's the Noles. Noles aren't playing college football right now. They're doing something else. I don't know what it is, but they're not playing college football right now. Okay, so that's pretty much the synopsis of what's going on in FSU, guys. They're doing something. Maybe they're playing baccarat. I don't know. Pickleball is a big deal here in the South now. Is pickleball big in the state wherever you guys are listening to? Let me know in the chat, guys. I don't know. But down here, apparently pickleball is really big. Maybe that's what they're playing. Maybe that's what FSU is doing. Let me tell you, though, they're not winning. Okay, they're not winning. 1-4 be the record of one FSU team right now. They lost to SMU, the Mustangs. 42-16 be the score of that ball game, guys. There was once upon a time where FSU would have dog walked SMU. And my have times changed. Okay, SMU rocking a 4-1 record, by the way. It seems not to be played with. Mustangs playing really, really good football. A lot to be made out of that game, unfortunately. 3 interceptions. Y'all heard that? My collarbone popped. 3 interceptions is not how you win a game. At all. In college, in high school, in pros. That's not going to do it. Unfortunately, right now, there's going to need to be a quarterback shift over there in FSU. I don't care who you bring in. It can't be worse than what you guys have been experiencing. If it can be worse, then put them in because I'm a Gator. Sorry, that's a terrible joke, but it is what it is, guys. FSU is just struggling right now. They can't do it. They can't run the ball. They can't pass the ball. They can't protect the football. There's no need to really go into stats, but for the record, the 42-16 loss by SMU accumulates to a second 40-point loss within 4 weeks, which has only happened but a few times in Florida State's career, and it's never happened from the Gators. We've never been able to beat them by 40 points and more in multiple games. So just keep that in consideration for as weird as it is to see FSU play the way that they're playing right now. Again, right now, they're coaching. They lost a lot of players to transfer portal. This franchise just doesn't have a direction. They don't have an identity. Like I said, they can't run the ball. I think that they had, 110 yards rushing total between everybody who touched the football. Quarterback DJ Ugo lately. I can't say his name properly. Even though I hear them say it on TV, I see it and try to say it the right way. I can't say it. But he's terrible. I'm sorry. He's terrible. 3 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. That's not a ratio that will ever get you a W, not in college, not in the pros. I'm done beating a dead horse. That's just what it is with FSU. Next game for them doesn't get any easier. They're going to go see number 15, Clemson, who's currently in league in ACC right now. This is the season. this is the season. If FSU is going to do anything, anything, it's going to start here against Clemson. If they will not be bowl eligible if they cannot put on any type of tape here against Clemson. ACC isn't particularly strong, but you still got to see Miami. You still got to see Duke. You still got to see what's the other team? Virginia Tech actually looked really good against Miami, actually. So that's another team I'd circle for FSU to struggle with. Virginia, of course. There's just a ton of trouble right now in on that FSU sideline in the college right now. And I think there's a lot of scrambling trying to figure out what they can do to get it right. Unfortunately, I think their season is over. I'm not saying that as a Gator. I'm saying that from a football perspective. Guys, you guys know how hard it is to make the playoffs with one loss. It just gets even harder when you have 4 losses. Guys, you're not even going to be bowl eligible. Okay, at this point, you're not even going to be bowl eligible. So you still got to see Miami, you still got to see Virginia Tech, you still got to see Duke. Those 3 games probably are not going to go your way if you guys keep playing football like this. It is what it is, FSU. Get your stuff together, get your coaching, get your players together. Your season is over. There's nothing else to really say about that. Like I said, next game is going to be against Clemson. That's going to be a ranked 15 Clemson. That's going to be next Saturday, October 5th. The time was to be determined. We'll know soon enough. I don't think they want to make this a primetime game. Under any other circumstance, any other year from now, this would be a primetime game, but no need to make that a primetime game. Canes, best team in college football right now. Okay, so Miami Hurricanes playing really good football right now, guys. They were struggling. They struggled against the Virginia Tech Hokies. They did struggle against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech came out ready to play, almost shocked the world. That's not a game that I expected Miami to struggle with. I fully expected them to run away with this game and score 40-plus points. They did not. They won that game by a score of 38-41. My bad, 38-34, 41. Jesus, what is this? The 1993 AFC wild card game or something? I'm tripping. But yeah, so Canes proved the 5-0. They're ranked 8 in the country. They're playing really good football right now. Found a W against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech 2-2 before that game, now 2-3. If they were going to make some type of splash, it was going to start with that Miami game, kind of put on some momentum and try to ride through the rest of the ACC. And unfortunately, they were unable to do that. It's looking like the Canes are going to coast to an ACC crown this year. It's all going to come down to Miami versus Clemson. The way these 2 teams are playing, Miami is going to win that game. Okay. Cam Ward is just a wizard. Is he elite? That's the question. I don't know if he's elite. Okay. I can't say that he's elite. Struggled against Virginia Tech, threw a pick 6. Just had a lot of struggles there on Saturday. His team was able to help bail him out. Defense started to pull it together late in the end. Almost lost to a Hail Mary, guys. Almost lost to a Hail Mary. So Canes still got a little bit of work to do. Still got to figure out exactly what you're doing wrong. In the second half of these ball games, again, Virginia Tech almost stole that one against you guys. And boy, that would have been one ruckus filled down there in Miami if they had. Virginia Tech, good job putting the fight in there. Just keep doing what you're doing against Miami, guys. You guys found some success. Hopefully you guys can mimic that success against FSU and make a game out of it with Clemson. If you guys can do that, you guys will be bowl eligible. But Miami, they look like they're trying to hit the playoffs and they're trying to run the ACC. So again, Miami, Clemson is going to be the game to watch for the ACC crown, whichever one of those teams makes it in. The other team's going to have a hard time trying to make it in right now just by virtue of the fact that the SEC playing such good football. And then, of course, you have Michigan, you have Ohio State, and you have those Penn State, of course, playing good football as always, right? Usual suspects. So other teams to take into consideration for this 12-team playoff, but you never know. I think Clemson might be able to sneak in as long as they stay ranked and they stay good. The next game for Miami is going to be against Cal, guys. They're going to be playing against Cal, which is the same team that the Noles played 2 weeks ago, actually. That Cal team only scored 9 points against FSU. They're not going to be able to do much against Miami. I think Miami runs away with this one. It's going to be my second prediction of a runaway game for Miami in a row. I think they score over 40 points. I think they keep Cal from scoring more than 20 points, and I think this game is another victory. Prove them to 6-0. That game is going to come to October 5th, Saturday, October 10th. 5th, my apologies, at 10:30 p.m., guys. So get ready for that game just in case you guys want to check out some Miami Hurricanes football. That's going to be the game to watch. Cal, you got to come prepared, guys. You cannot play the way you played against FSU against Miami. If you do, again, runaway ball game, right? Runaway ball game. Just like a runaway train, runaway ball game. So check the chat real quick. Yep. Florida State Seminoles. I like that, Dad. Seminoles. Yep. Nope. Can't win a game. Can't hold on to the ball. Can't do anything. I don't know what they're doing in FSU, but I hope they continue it. Yeah. I hope they continue it all the way to we play the Gators. Yep. Yep. Canes fell 1 spot in the AP poll to number 8. Yeah. I mean, They showed against Va Tech, bro. I mean, what did they think was going to happen? I mean, they haven't played anybody yet. So the question is, what will they look like when they play somebody good, i.e. Clemson, i.e. Duke? We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see what team shows up. Of course, if those teams can play good defense, of course, the Gators just made Miami look good, right? The Gators. They weren't ready for the season. They're 2-2, guys. What do you expect from Florida? You know what I'm saying? So don't sit there and say Florida was a good team. They beat. No, Florida's not a good. I'm a Gator, guys. I've watched the Gators since I was 4 years old. I'm 30. That's 26 years of watching a team play football. Let me tell you something. This is one of the darkest stretches in Florida's last 40 years of college football. And I legitimately mean 40 years. This is one of the darkest stretches for the Gators in college football. So just keep that in consideration. Alabama, new number one. Yeah, we'll take Alabama for 500. Alabama in the house. Jalen Milroe, special ball player. Ryan Williams, special ball player. Alabama. That's a special college right there, guys. And that's a Gator saying that, all right? So it's true. It is what it is. Good job, Alabama. Way to beat Georgia. Thank God y'all beat Georgia. I mean, as a Gator, I love to see Kirby Smart lose and see him flustered and frustrated. And hopefully those Georgia Bulldogs are demoralized and hopefully the Gators can draw upon that. Are they going to win the game? Most certainly not. They're not going to win the game. But am I going to hope and pray? And am I going to channel all my energy and, my Kai Blast and all that or whatever for those Dragon Ball Z fans out there? Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, guys. Bambi new number one. They deserve it, guys. Let's go ahead and get into our last break of the evening. And I will skip the break, guys. Skip the break. Got a few minutes left. Let's go ahead and cover everything and let's just get through it so I can send you guys on your way. Okay. So the Rays. The Rays, actually, you know what, guys? Even more importantly, keeping this short and sweet, guys, the baseball season is over. Okay, baseball season is over. Both teams were unable to make it to the playoffs. Obviously, the Rays played much better season than the Marlins did. It is what it is, guys, as we bid for a farewell to our Rays team and our Marlins team. Heading into the offseason, just a couple of things for thought for this team. One, they lost their final game of the season, but it's not – look, it's okay, guys. We are going to stay less than 500 anyway. The Rays are rocking an 80 and 82 record to end the season, guys. They lost against the Red Sox. Red Sox finished 81 and 81, right down the middle, right? So can't be mad at that. It's a Red Sox team. Let's get to the offseason and let's improve. At the end of the day, that's all we can really hope for at the start of the season. We were hoping for something that just didn't materialize. Randy Arozarena out of here, along with a few other ball players. We were able to hold on to some pieces and kind of build more pieces around, Perez, Lowe, and just the guys that we have. Yanni Diaz and all those good guys on our team and whatnot. We still have great coaching, great management guys. So now we're just going to have to build around what we have, the success that we did have this past season, and we're going to have to hope to do better next year. The good part for both these teams is they can only go up from here, especially when you look at where the Rays were last year. And when you think about the Marlins, of course, you're thinking about a team that finished 62 and 100. This team can do nothing but go up as well. I'm just glad we're not the White Sox. Set a record for the most losingest franchise as far as single season performance is concerned. I think like 121 losses on the season. They played terribly. Not to mention some of the wins that they had. The majority of the wins that they had this year were actually against the Rays. So Rays, let's clean that up, guys. But like I said, we are bidding farewell to the MLB season, guys. There will be more exciting news once we know who's going to be called up from the minor leagues and, of course, what the offseason is going to be like, what kind of trades, what kind of cash we're going to send out to try and get some better players here. But the Rays have something to build upon. Like I said, 80 and 82, not too bad. Just a hair below 500, guys. We can do better. We will be better, and we'll be back, in the words of Tim Tebow, and God bless. So good luck, Rays, during the offseason, guys. We're laying this. There's not a whole lot to say, guys. Let's just be honest, right? After you go 80 and 82, there's not a lot to say except for let's look forward to next year. Let's be better next year. Let's get the right pieces in the right place, and let's build around again our young talent, Yanni Diaz and the Lowe boys and Lowe brothers and Perez and just the pitching that we have in the ball club, guys. Let's just build around that and try to find some success. It's very much so that simple. We bid farewell to the Rays. Thank you guys for everything this year. We look forward to seeing you guys next year, and please do something in the offseason, bring in a star, do something, because we're not going to settle for 80-82. Okay, we've got championships with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We've got championships with the Tampa Bay Lightning. We've got championships in arena football with the Tampa Bay Storm. Okay, I went to that game, so I don't want to hear it raised. Time for you to go get your title. We've been waiting. We deserve it. You deserve it. Let's get to it. Right, it all starts this offseason as we build upon this season's piece of work. Marlins, same example, pretty much. 62 and 100 be the record that they finished with. They won their last game, unlike the Rays did, by a score of 3-1. They were able to beat the Blue Jays. Blue Jays also struggling this year. So just good job, Marlins, on finishing on a high note. I was hoping the Rays would do the same thing. They didn't, but hey, look, good job, Marlins. Keeping Miami on some positivity there, especially with the fact they didn't see any football. Of course, Hurricanes winning their game, and then so see the Dolphins play tomorrow, and hopefully they can win their game and have all the teams in Miami win over the weekend. So big win for the Marlins there as they close out their season against the 74-88 Blue Jays. That score was a 3-1 ball game. Like I said, final games of the season for both these teams eliminated from postseason play. So it is what it is, guys. But congratulations on the teams who did make the playoffs. I look forward to seeing what's going to take place. Dodgers, Yankees is what it looks like for me. That's what I would like to see. I can't wait to see if that's exactly what it's going to be, guys. A few more things as I get ready to go into the rest or the end of the show, guys. Inter Miami, they tied with Charlotte. That's 11-11 Charlotte. So good job, Charlotte, for tying with Miami. Inter Miami rocking a 19-4 record. Lionel Messi's back. He did account for the only goal that was scored by Miami. Of course, Charlotte would go ahead and match that with one goal, of course. That game went into full time, so it's tie game, like I said. Great game by both teams. I wasn't able to watch it, unfortunately, but I did get to see Lionel Messi's goal on Twitter. So good job, Lionel Messi. It's such a pleasure to have him there in Miami, and I look forward to seeing more of his work. And then as far as the next game to be concerned, guys, the next game is going to be against Columbus. That's 16-5 Columbus, playing very good soccer right now at the moment. Wednesday, October 2nd, 7:30 p.m., guys. I look forward to seeing if I can catch that game. It's going to be on a Wednesday, so depends on what's going on with the city. If I'm out from the city, I'll be able to catch this game, and I'll be able to give you some more details on that, guys. Orlando City, they just came off a 3-1 full-time victory against the FC Dallas guys. FC Dallas not exactly the hottest team in soccer. They're 10-14, but Orlando City's getting hot, man. They're 13-11. They've climbed a couple of games above 500. I think they've won 3 in a row. Super proud of this team. Love to see Orlando playing well. Love to see them in their purple, guys. I love that purple, that royal purple that they have for Orlando City, guys. It's such a great color. But good job, Orlando City. Great job on that victory. You guys are going to go see Philadelphia. That's going to be 9-12. Philadelphia, again, another great team. So not another great team, I should say. They're not playing very good soccer. So hopefully you guys can get 3 games above 500 and increase that winning streak to 4 games, guys. That game is also going to be Wednesday, October 2nd, 7:30 p.m. So if you're going to be in the MLS market for Florida, you're going to be watching both these games at the same time. You already know what I'm going to tell you. Back and back, last and last. Whatever's on your remote, bounce back and forth between those two teams. Check out what's going on there. That's it, guys. That's it. I know I kind of had to celebrate there at the end there, but I really appreciate you guys having it locked here at Palm Tree Sports Radio. Hey, listen, it's been my pleasure to bring to you guys this information coming out of the Sunshine State of Florida. I look forward to seeing you guys same time, same place next week so we can cover what's going on again, what's happening in the NFL, NCAA. We're going to move away from the MLB, but don't worry, hockey is on the way back as long as Major League, or not Major League, but basketball, of course, the NBA is going to be back, followed by college basketball shortly thereafter, guys. It's been my pleasure to come bring this information to you. Good job, Bucks. Good job, Tom Brady, on the broadcast. What a match made in heaven. My favorite quarterback, probably my favorite team's plays. I hope you guys get to experience it one day too. But again, thank you so much. Again, shout out and all the love and prayers out to all of the people who are affected by the hurricane, guys. We are not forgotten about you. We hope to help you guys out. I will be out there tomorrow morning, first thing 7 a.m. in the morning to do my part. So I hope to see you guys out there, and be safe. Of course, safety is key as we continue to put this storm behind us and move into what we need to do to get the city back on its feet and move out of the hurricane season. Super excited to move out of hurricane season. We need to use it. But for some food for thought, guys, just hold on to your loved ones. Again, we saw a couple of people lose their lives from the hurricane. So take care of yourself. Hug your loved ones. Make that phone call. Check in on everybody. Get ready for the work week. Of course, stay hydrated. It's going to be hot. I mean, at least for here in South Florida, it's still going to be hot. If it's hot up there, northwest, wherever you're at, guys, stay hydrated. It's in point. A lot of people are passing out and passing away due to not taking care of their bodies, right? So don't forget to do that, guys. And that's it, man. I just wanted to make sure I impart that information, that wisdom on to you guys. Can't wait to see y'all same time, same place next week. Keep it locked here at Palm Tree Sports for so much more in the coming future. And again, I will speak to you then. Until next time, you guys have a wonderful week.